Hey guys, my name is Kayla. Welcome to my Snapchat story. This is going to be about Noah's life in a snapshot. Um, so I'm going to be going over Genesis 6 through 9. And the first slide says the storm before the storm. So what the storm before the storm represents to me is the wickedness that happened before the actual storm where God completely wiped out the entire earth. So the Bible was explaining, in the first couple chapters that, every man's thought was just pure evil. Like literally every single thought was just evil, and that people were just living their lives, eating, drinking, just not living according to God's will or not even acknowledging Him. And they were just living godless lives. And to Him, that was just living a godless life itself is just very wicked. And God found no favor in that. So that's how it was in the days of Noah. It was just very wicked and dark. And God says in the Bible as well, when he returns, it's going to be the same way as it was in the days of Noah. So the next slide says finding favor with God. And so Genesis 6:8 says, but Noah found favor with God. And how many of us have had favor with God before? Just waking up itself is having favor with God, not understanding why or how your mom or your sister or yourself or your daughters, or your sons got healed. That's, finding favor with God, because favor with God, nothing is impossible. And so if you search up the word favor in Hebrew, it actually means grace. Um, so how did, Noah get favor during this time? So the Bible said that Noah was a righteous man. And, being righteous is not something you earn. It's something, it's a gift, a gift from God, to be righteous. Noah walked with God when nobody else did. That's how he got his favor, not by his works or his morality, um, but through his authentic, lively relationship with God. He walked with God, and, God was just revealing to him, what to do. So it's just about walking with God and just being able to listen. Sometimes we can become so stagnant in our walk with God, and, that can just be something that, like, we're just getting so frustrated, like, God, why are you not talking to me? And God's just like, well, you're not like walking with me, like you're just standing there. And it's one thing to listen, but it's actually another thing to step into that obedience the way Noah did. So our next slide is a good idea versus God's idea. So ultimately, the idea of the ark was God's idea. We can just see in his idea the boldness, where it can strengthen Noah's faith, where it just seems crazy to other people, but he knows that, what's going to go on, and he's a God that knows everything. So it's a little sad to me that many of us, would rather have comfort or take comfort in a good idea versus God's idea. And that's why I feel like some of us have, stopped building what God has told us to build because, maybe it doesn't fit in with today's society or, the culture, and it looks crazy and it looks ridiculous. And so I'm going to just, point out some pointers. A good idea might produce fame, but a God idea will produce fruit. A good idea will affect your destiny, but a God idea will affect your legacy. A good idea is convenient, and many of us really want the convenience. Good ideas make sense, but God ideas take faith and take boldness. If it doesn't build faith, then it might not be from God. So now we're talking about following the architect's instructions, and the architect, that's to me that symbolizes God, since he's the architect of the ark. So it's just, just being able to listen to what he's trying to instruct you on and direct you on. Sometimes a lot of us think, sometimes we have to get in a trance to be able to listen to God's voice. But the honest truth is, sometimes you just got to volume down the noise in your life in order to listen to God's whisper. And I believe, that's the fight, like if God can get your attention, imagine the things that he would be able to do for you and through you. And, the enemy also wants to get your attention because he doesn't want God to be able to do that through you and for you. It's just having, the angel and the little devil on the side. Like, you know what you're supposed to do, but then temptation comes, and it's just like, what are you going to give your attention to? What whisper are you going to listen to? The enemy's ultimate plan is to distract you, and after that, he's going to destroy you. So we're finally in the last slide, and it says God's timing. So we can see now that Noah and his family and all the animals in that one ark were in there for 150 days. And that's just 150 days and like 6 more months and 7 more days that they were still in the ark. You see, Noah just didn't, he trusted God so much that he, was expecting for God to give him the answer to get out of the boat, just how God promised. And he held on to that promise and he stayed there as long as it took. So, going through this chapter, learning more about Noah, I've learned that um, it's not enough just to listen for the God idea. You actually have to put it into action and listen to his whisper and his instructions. And you also have to trust his timing, because at the end, I mean, look where it led Noah. It led him to a whole different world and a whole new world. And as soon as he got out the boat, it also says that he immediately made an altar for God, praising him and thanking him, just as many of us do when we go through our trials and through our darkness, or when we're floating by faith. He made this altar, and he was just praising God and thanking him. And I'm just so glad I got to be able to learn more and being able to share it with y'all. So yeah, thank you.